Being the meeting, appreciate the 5-minute break. The next item on the agenda is public comments on agenda items only. Is there anything anybody would like to speak of that's on the agenda? Okay, there being none, first resolution is to award snowplow bids for the 2014-2015 season. The highway superintendent has asked we put the bids out. Bids were put out, received, and Councilman Cassidy, would you read the resolution, please? I'd also like to make one note, though. The highway superintendent requested authorizing a rebid of Route 12 as part of the resolution. So if you'd read that resolution, please.
Whereas under the highway law, the highway superintendent is allowed to utilize private contractors to assist him in the clearing of roads during winter storms. And whereas on an annual basis, town solicit bids for contractors to assist the highway superintendent. And whereas the bids have been received by the clerk and the town and are summarized in the attached schedule, now therefore be resolved that the town board does hereby accept and approve bids on the attached schedule for the contractors listed therein to utilize the highway superintendent in the clearing of snow and ice in the winter season on the town roads.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to authorize the snowplow bids? And everybody's gotten a copy of the bids. 20 routes have been bid. Again, we'll be rebidding 12, and I could run through the bids if you'd like, but everybody has them here. So do I have a motion to authorize snowplow bids as received?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I mean, is there going to be a discussion about this?
Did you have any discussion?
Yeah,
Sure.
I had a
Absolutely.
question to Carol, if it's possible.
Yeah,
I saw the snow bids for 2014 and 15,
yes,
and I see that the size of the truck, 18,000 lb pounds, I guess,
yes.
with plow, 6-yard sander. Certain companies have different price.
Yes.
Why is that?
Everyone bid different prices within that range, but a lot of the contractors did overbid. Say they had, for an example, say they have only one truck, they bid 2 or 3 routes. So Dennis had to go through each and every one of them and eliminate, so he got down to the lowest bid for each route.
Yeah, I just question because for the same capacity truck,
Yeah,
But they bid on the
we
route.
see like almost $100 difference
Yeah.
between.
Depends on the
it
truck
depends
and
on
the contractor.
on the contractor.
Yeah, what they bid. If they
They
bid
bid it
so
by
many
route.
trucks.
Yeah.
Each route is bid.
Okay.
And everybody bids on the route, and then they go to the lowest bidder for that route.
Okay.
And year after year, because there's no one contractor that has sufficient
Right.
trucks to do all the routes.
Yeah.
So you take the lowest bidder on each route.
And I think some people are new on this sheet, and I think a few of the contractors didn't understand, because a larger truck obviously is gonna get more money, because there's a lot more to that.
I don't think this is a complete package, but I know also, I believe you can have that size truck both with and without a wingman, right?
Yeah, well,
And I don't
Metzger
know-
has the only trucks that have one.
Have wingmans, and that's
Yeah.
why you got that substantial jump.
Okay.
You got a second person.
Yeah.
And you see, we do have the spreadsheet which shows all the bids that were received, so you can see, say Route 3, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 bids from $139 per truck to $150 per truck per hour. So we do that. We've gone through this bidding process. Every year we try to get a little bit more detailed. So, because Dennis would like to get bigger trucks now because they do a better job and they do, for some larger roads. So every year we try to do a little bit better, and I think this year it came out pretty good. But you see the bids are on this one. And it's just, again, we require a lot of trucks, so. And sometimes you'll get an older truck, so you have a newer truck, so obviously the older
Okay.
truck will bid less.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
yes.
Okay, Councilman?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Just
all
a
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Second resolution, adopt a negative declaration, an amendment to the zoning ordinance to add large-scale recreation facilities to special use permit. Everybody's got a copy, and we discussed the zoning ordinance changes, I believe, couple months ago. Tom, I think we've gotten the neg deck, and, I wanted to ask Michelle. Michelle, we've gone through the neg deck, and we've addressed all the issues. I'd like to point out just a couple of the issues that are pointed out was stormwater. The stormwater actually, we believe by this project, the stormwater will actually be lessened, and some of it will be diverted to the Fishkill Creek. Scott, you verified that with the engineers, correct?
Yeah, and I must say, I think we exhausted this. I think they went above and beyond that, what's technically required in the manual.
Yeah.
To try to, make every effort to not impact the community across the street. I commend them for working with us, and I think going beyond what was technically,
Yeah.
but they understood, our concerns across the way, so.
Good. And just a couple of the other things, I just want to mention that the lighting, Michelle and I have discussed the lighting with the new lighting components that they use. All lighting will be basically on-site. You will see the poles, but all light will be kept on-site. So there will be very, very little light spillage.
Correct. The proposal on the sports lighting fields, they're going to be using Musco Lighting, which is one of the preeminent sports lighting manufacturers in the field, and they have technology that focuses the light downward, and they actually have no spillover beyond a certain point outside of their field, and they're proposing as part of their site plan that there would be no light spillover onto adjacent properties.
Okay. And
Now, that's not to say that you would not.
You'll see the
Will
light.
see the lights if
Right.
you look at the site.
But you won't have-
will not get light spillover onto your own property if you're a resident across the street.
Okay. Very good. And a couple of the other things that we had noted in this, as far as the traffic and circulation, I know the traffic study was rather complete, and we are looking at some point in the next couple of years to actually open up the back road. We're working along with the Linnell property and IBM to open that up. So noise will be reduced. All equipment on the site will be, there's noise levels prescribed for all the equipment, and I know that the structure itself has to be built to certain standards. So I think that our neg deck, covered a lot of the issues that have been brought up previously. With that, I'd like to ask for a motion to adopt the neg deck and amendment to the zoning ordinance. Excuse me.
I came here not understanding the order of call here, but you're still missing a few things on this site. One has to do, and I brought it up during the last meeting,
It's
not
not-
this meeting, but
This is not the site plan approval. That still has to be completed by the
Yeah, that's
planning
not done yet. That's not
This
this
is the
board.
amendment of the zoning ordinance.
there's only more.
This is the law.
But
This is not the site.
site plan, those things about drainage, traffic, et cetera, is still being reviewed by the
That'll
planning.
the planning board.
And I think their public hearing.
Okay, so we'll go forward.
No, this is not okaying it. This is authorizing in the zoning ordinance for large-scale outdoor, indoor and outdoor recreation facilities. We have outdoor already, this would add indoor to it, and the application before the planning board would be for the planning board to decide whether or not they would grant approval to this particular location. This is an amendment to the zoning ordinance itself. Okay?
But what you mentioned on the flood.
Hmm?
We do intend just to try to address that at the next public hearing or the next meeting with the planning board. We're going to put some numbers and stats up on the screen so everyone can kind of see exactly what it is we've been looking at internally.
One thing really scares me is the watershed that's recovering.
Yeah. We're going to get that up on the screen
Yeah.
so everybody can see that a lot clearer next time.
Because there was a drainage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to work with them to get that a little clearer presentation on that point.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to adopt the neg deck and the amendment to the zoning ordinance to allow large-scale recreation facilities as a special use permit?
Second.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
I have a couple of comments I want to make, if it's possible. I'm looking at the purpose of this dome, and it's a good project. It's a great project for the community. I just have one concern. It is the purpose of this section to promote recreational and economic opportunities in the town by allowing the town board the authority to permit recreational indoor sports dome facility. That's one point. The other point is, I'm reading over here in the recreational indoor sports dome facility, and number 8, The owner shall enter into a written agreement with the town regarding the use of the indoor sports facility. The agreement shall specify the community benefits and shall provide to the town residents for recreational as well as large-scale assembly. This is important because we want to make sure that we get some kind of benefits. The kids, the recreation department, at our schools. Because let's not forget that this dome is not going to be bringing tax revenue to the town as a regular structure, masonry structure. So I would like to see that we get some kind of compensation some other way, and that will be for the kids. For the kids.
Yeah, there will be a community benefit.
I just want
Number
to,
B is
But if
that-
we can't, if we don't pass the law, that.
No,
there is none.
that's just, no, that was
It's
not,
required
that was
by the
just,
law.
that's one of my concerns,
Yeah.
that we get,
that's a concern of all of ours, Councilman, and the applicant did come to us at the Recreation
Okay.
Board,
Yeah.
and we discussed that. The Recreation Advisory Board discussed that, and they were very, very receptive, and we plan on working with
Good.
them, and they plan on working with us,
Good.
and we look forward to it.
that's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
The
that's
process, the agreement will come back to the town board to approve before it's final.
very good. Yeah, that was one of my concerns.
But isn't this why it's in the law? All right.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. Thank you very much. Number 3, authorize the disposition of various surplus items from the police department, whereas the county duchess is, oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong one. Can, Councilman Delisandro, would you read resolution number 3?
Number 3, yes. Whereas the town board was provided with a listing of property which has been deemed to be of no further use to the town and thus should be considered surplus, and the town board has reviewed said list and concurs that the vehicle and equipment on the annexed list be and hereby is declared to be surplus vehicle and is to be disposed of by the town, and that the town supervisor be and hereby is authorized to dispose of said property by participating in an auction process held by Absolute Auctions and Realty without cost to the town, and be it further resolved that the sale of said property shall be further approved by this board. And the list is on the second page.
Is attached.
Yes.
We have 2002 Silverado pickup, light bars, strobe light bar, vehicle petitions, K-9 petition, and a K-9 petition for the Crown Vic. So with that, do I have a motion declaring certain property as surplus and authorizing the auction of same?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. Thank you very much.
I thought there was going to be a list of everything in Brian's office.
No, that's all gone.
You didn't want to save the strobe light? You didn't want to save the strobe light? No?
Number 4 is to authorize the purchase of a parcel of land abutting the Canyon property to auction for no more than $2,500. Town engineers noticed that there's going to be a parcel of property that's going up to the county for tax sale. It adjoins our Canyon property. I believe that it's like a triangular piece, but you never know what you're going to need. It would be nice to have access to our property. Scott, what road does that come out onto? Arrowhead?
That's Arrowhead, yes.
Arrowhead. So Scott has asked if we could authorize him up to $2,500 to bid for this property. He says it's not worth more than that, but if we can get it for $2,500, he feels that it would be a good purchase. So with that, do I have a motion to authorize the purchase of this parcel of land for no more than $2,500?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, sure.
Go ahead. I'll vote aye in the last question.
Okay.
We can't take
Opposed?
this on the tax
Motion
sale?
carried.
No, we can't take this, we'd have to pay $18,000.
Yeah,
if we
the
took it.
back taxes are
Back
18,000.
taxes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is,
For the full amount of the back taxes.
Oh, okay,
it
so that's why it's
the full
going
amount
to
of
auction.
18 grand.
Yeah.
So if we take a
okay,
shot at the
so
auction-
this is diagonally across from Dr. Fine's place?
It's right on the curve,
Past the
just
road.
before the curve.
Asked him.
Just past him
Yeah.
between, well, before Ray Jarino, well.
I don't know who lives
you
where,
wouldn't know
but
where Ray Jarino was. Yeah.
you get
But
into
right
the
after
curve
his
on the
place over
left-hand
there on the
side. Yeah.
Okay.
It only has 26 foot of frontage, I mean, nobody can
Yeah,
build
but
on
put
it,
it-
but at least we would
give us a
control
driveway
it
into
for
the back.
whatever.
Okay. Councilman Franco, would you read resolution number 5, please?
Certainly. Whereas the town assessor has advised the town supervisor that in order to remain certified by the New York State Assessors Association, she must attend annual training programs. And whereas a training program is available for her to attend in Lake Placid, New York, from October 5th, 2014 through October 8th, 2014, and it is the desire of the town board to authorize the supervisor to approve said travel. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor be and hereby is authorized in accordance with Section 77B of the General Municipal Law of the State of New York to authorize the assessor to attend a training program sponsored by the New York State Assessors Association to be held out of the area requiring an overnight stay. And be it further resolved that the assessor from the town of Poughkeepsie will also be attending the training and will be splitting the room expense. The town of Poughkeepsie will reimburse the town of East Fishkill for half of the room cost. Be it further resolved that all reasonable and necessary expenses incurred by the assessor may be approved by the supervisor for reimbursement by the town.
Thank you, Councilman. Just by way of explanation, the assessor does have to have so many credits per year, as many of our professionals do, and this is one of the places that she can get her credits. And she said it is a good training program, and she would be going away for several days. That being said, do I have a motion to authorize a travel and training for the town assessor?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, can we get the money from the town of Poughkeepsie first?
Doubtful. Doubtful.
Beacon pay part of it?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Councilman Marinero, would you read resolution number 7, please?
Is that the one about grant duty or weapon?
Yes, please.
Okay. Whereas it has been standard policy of the police department when a member has served 20-plus years with the department and retires in good standing, that their duty weapons is turned over to them upon leaving unemployment, and the following individual has retired in good standing from the East Fishkill Department, and the following individual has been verified to hold a valid New York State pistol license permit, and now therefore be resolved that the town board does hereby grant permission to turn over duty weapons to the following individual: Mark J. Alberti, Clock 45, Model 21,
I don't think we
serial number.
We don't have to give the serial number on
Okay.
television. Somebody write that down somewhere. We'll
problem.
have all kinds of troubles.
Sorry about that.
Anyway, Lieutenant Alberti is leaving our employment, and we're sad to see him go, but we'd like to give him his weapon on the way out. So do I have a motion to authorize the retiring lieutenant to retain his firearm?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Controller here, there is no budget transfers this evening. Anybody in the audience like to make comment on general town issues, you're more than welcome.
I'm sorry, I know it's late. And I said this to Supervisor Hickman at the break, but I did want the whole board to hear me say this. The sign at the entrance to Hillside Lake had been taken down and repaired and replaced, and it's lovely. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it because I had to put the letters up the other day.
Good.
And I know it's not your purview. I know people come up here and say things, and the highway department is not within your discretion. But the storm drain in front of my house was also fixed. That's very exciting. I thought you should all know. And with respect to my comments earlier, Councilman D'Alessandro, you said you had done the research on the properties in Poughkeepsie, and that I find that to be satisfactory, and I trust your judgment on that. So to take something off your plate, I'm not going to ask you for any more information on that.
Great.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody in the audience, any other comments on general town issues?
Hi again. Question. In front of Van Wyck Junior High and the Blue Fountain, we have Hillside Lake and 376 that meet. That area floods and has flooded for the 11 years that I've been living here, and probably flooded before. That is county?
County.
Okay, so what's the cutoff? Is at the light? or 376
It's a
is
state
town?
It's a state highway till 376 is state highway till it veers up by the Blue Fountain. As it continues down, it's a county road.
Okay, I only bring that up again only because I'm going back to the school district, which is moving, as I mentioned, the bus depot, and the overflow of buses are going to be parked in Van Wyck. So the question then becomes, can that road be repaired? Can you reach out to the county to ask them if they can fix that area? Because we're going to have increased traffic with buses, obviously more rain, we're going to have snow, whether, and I guess maybe it'd also be a question for the school board if they've contacted the county with regards to any additional lighting or flashing light or signage because of the additional buses that are going to be running in and out. It's not a big area.
It's certainly not under our.
Well, that's what I was asking, just for
It's a county road. and
just
you're
for
talking
the
about
logistics of where the
walking to your
road
central
ends and
school
begins.
What they're doing, so I think,
But similar to what the town has to do with environmental review, the school
Right.
board has
Yeah.
to. And
Good-
that's an
good
issue
point.
if you raise it as far as the
A
roads
concern.
and what they
Oh,
have to
I
address.
will. If you have watched the school board meeting, you'd know I raise a lot of issues there. So which brings me over then to Fishkill Plains, which is Lake Walton, which obviously is a town road. So the main bus depot is going to be housed there. Buses are going to be washed. Has there been any discussion with the school district with regards to any additional signage?
You're the only
or
person I
something there?
heard say anything about increases in school bus storage at either of these sites.
Town's
So
not been
I have not been contacted on any of this.
Okay, so giving you a heads up. Obviously, you know that the bus garage was demolished.
No, I don't.
You weren't aware of that?
Well, I don't do schools. They don't require any permit.
Well,
from the
obviously, they go
town.
through New York State.
They don't, yeah, because they're under the Board of Ed.
Okay, so obviously, they have not put forth, okay, the plan from Rhinebeck and Associates to construct the new bus depot
need a
on the
permit,
site. No, I'm not asking for a permit, just to know about it, because it's going to increase traffic flow, and again, the buses within the town. So they haven't notified you.
When is this going to happen?
Be up by next September of 2015.
Okay.
Okay, so again, a gentleman at the last board meeting brought up the concern about the walkway right over there, which then, in my head, said, well, now the...
I'll contact the school superintendent and see what his plans are, but this is the first I've heard about it.
Just bringing it up for additional flashing light, again, we only have two roads.
It's certainly something to be
Just,
looked at.
well, again, just get on top of it, just only because, again, from a safety issue for the area. So that was it. Thank you very much.
I'll have to find my pen. All right, that being it, any other comments on general town issues? Okay.
Oh, no.
No.
Do you see, I always said, after 9 o'clock, it's always the board that
Chief of
complains.
police,
I just wanted to, as you all know, we recently had the wake for that Officer Williams from New York City who was killed. And just wanted to say thank you to some businesses that pitched in. As you know, planning for a large wake such as this on short notice is not just a police effort, it's a community effort. We had cooperation with Dutchess County Sheriff's Department, New York State Police, Department of Emergency Response, as well as we'd like to thank the businesses across the street from McCool's that helped us with parking. That being Ak Moody's Funeral Home made their parking lot available to us, Williams Lumber, as well as Hopewell Easy Storage, which figured in heavily to our parking plan. I'd also like to thank our Recreation Department and our seniors for postponing their program that day, and all our sports teams and leagues that postponed their games so that we could utilize all the parking that was available there. But just publicly, I wanted to thank all those organizations and just say it was a great way to pay tribute to Officer Williams. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Certainly a sad occasion, the passing of a police officer in an accident, a young man like that. So we're glad that we can at least be of service.
And great job by you, Chief, and your
Yes.
men. We appreciate that.
Yes.
Now, I'd just like to talk about our sports dome a little bit, seeing how you're moving forward with special permits to get such a structure there. Not that I'm against it, it's just the location, like, the Muse, I'm totally for something like that. I'm totally for a sports dome. It's just the location you're putting it in. I mean, now, I originally heard about it, they were leasing the property, now they're buying the property.
Is that, what's the difference?
I guess, are they buying the whole piece of property?
I mean, it's really, that's a transaction between them. It
Yeah,
has nothing to do with us.
I understand that. It's
Yeah.
just they're taking up such a large footprint of property, covering it is with, it's an accumulation, your amount of, in that one area there, you're coming in with orthopedics, the new doctor's office that can put in, they're paving more of the property. That adds to our runoff. Up the street, you're putting in a new
A
strip of
lot of the
stores
parking
there.
is already there. A
Excuse
lot
me?
of the parking is already
Yeah,
there.
but they're still adding to it.
They're going to have
pushing
to add
building
some, I
back.
do believe, but a lot of it's there, yes.
So it's just you're covering up more ground. You go up the road, you just approve putting in new strip of stores or office buildings by Palin Road and 52. What's it called, Stone Ridge? It's adding more. Now we're taking the sports dome. There's some great locations, especially on Lime Kill Road, you could put such a structure. That's property that's been for sale there for many years. And you're gonna cover up how many acres of property? And even with that, you know, the watershed of that, my question on 2 meeting nights was, where are you gonna put all the parking? They keep talking about overflow. And what happens if they open up the rest of those buildings to actually make solar panels? Are they gonna take away the permission to park overflow from those people? Now they don't have enough parking just for the sports dome. And then my constant question is, what are you gonna do with the buses? And twice they told us buses come in, they drop people off and they leave. At the last meeting, they said they could park at the high school, they could park at some other facility that's close by. Meanwhile, you had a gentleman sitting here that has a business right next door saying, I don't want people parking in my lot. So these big buses, I'm sure all the high schools in Dutchess County is not gonna be 20% of their business. So business is gonna be coming from out of county, out of state. So there are gonna be large buses rolling through this place. So you really have to take a closer look at this small piece of property they're putting this huge structure on.
150, it's 157 acres, the parcel over there. The whole site is 5 large buildings. It's a large industrial parcel. They're going to use, I don't know, 20-something.
It's a large industrial parcel, but they're only using this part of it.
Yeah.
And their parking is on the dome and their baseball fields that wrap around it, and their parking is on this much. And they have, according to what I've been told, they have an agreement to have parking overflow onto the rest of the property. But the people who currently own those buildings decide to open them up and put them to use, I'm sure that parking agreement is null and void.
No, they
Well,
can't
they
do
would
that.
have agreements.
If you want, I can explain a couple of things to you. First of all, it's very clear that in the past, too much blacktop was put down for too many parking spaces. And we all know that from a lot of facilities in the town, particularly IBM. We got too much pavement. So the town board, about 4 or 5 years ago, created a tool for the planning board. It's called a special permit, and there's 2 special permit parts. One is to allow the sharing of parking between sites for off uses. So in this particular case, the Dome, it is a subdivision. They're buying about 28 acres of land proposed. It hasn't been approved yet. And they would own that, and then the balance of the land, 130 acres, would still remain in the back. They have asked for a shared parking agreement, which both property owners consent to. It's in the form of a written recorded easement agreement. It runs with the land. It's forever. Can't be terminated by one side or the other, and they can't be terminated without the town's consent. And so they have about 400 spaces on their property itself, and they have an agreement with the back property for, I think, another 600 spaces. So that brings them up to 1,000 spaces. Secondly, from years ago when subdivisions were built, etc., stormwater was just piped and drained everywhere. New York State requires towns to enforce what they call MS4. It's Municipal Stormwater Discharge Law. And that requires a developer to prove to the satisfaction of every engineer that the town wants to have review it, the in-house engineer, the consulting engineer, that the amount of stormwater that drains from a property after the development cannot exceed the amount of water that was there before. In the case of the dome, what the town engineer alluded to, after months and months and months before the planning board and studies, they have actually redesigned the stormwater to take it away from the flow towards Lake City and divert it. There was a stream study done. I believe it was you questioned about the stream. That's what the town engineer will have everything presented. The next planning board meeting was done. It shows that it's all going to work that way. As far as Orthopedic Associates, at the public hearings there, because of the concern of the water, they have upsized the system underneath the parking lot that they're building to contain the water on the site. So in a storm event, it's not going to flood. It's going to lessen the amount of water goes. This is all because of MS4. It's new laws. It's not like it was 20 years ago.
But I would like to say also, Tom, besides MS4, because we've seen, Scott, we've been down to Lake City, and we put the pipe under the road there, which I think did help some of the flooding. Very stringent with the project up the road there.
Stone Ridge.
We made them have zero discharge.
They created stormwater basins before the town board would even entertain
I gotta tell you, I think we've
a
been lot more
modification of their
stringent.
zoning. Those two big ponds, and not a drop of water leaves their site to go anywhere else.
Yeah, we finally got that one corrected.
We recognize that issue, and believe me, we're very sensitive to any increase down there.
It's like, I'm a member of the Green Haven Fish and Game Association, and that property is, to me, the weather vane on how the neighborhood's gonna survive.
Yeah.
And this year, it's like been on edge. I mean, every spring, it's a common event, we get 4 to 6 inches of water flowing across our property.
Yeah.
And then within 24 hours, if it's lessening and it's actually building, then I know the neighborhood's gonna get next. Because where Sprout Creek and Fishkill Creek come
Right.
together.
Yep.
And then out of Wickapee Creek and the other creek come together down at at the base of our property.
Yeah.
And when that pipe starts backing up. So when I saw how much grassland you were covering up, natural watershed, it just scared me.
Okay.
And-
I think
and-
we'll also show at the next meeting too, IBM, when they designed their ponds originally, they had already factored in development where the dome is going, not to the extent, but to a large extent, and that's all also been factored in.
Whenever IBM did any work on this site, it seemed like they were ready to build another building. So if they did work here and did ponds, they always made sure they were ahead of it if they were going to build another building. And that's where we think they were going to build another building at some point, so.
This was 2005, 2007, 2008.
IBM? What did
No,
they-
I'm just talking about the neighborhood, because
I'm sorry, what's that?
I'm just talking about my neighborhood, back neighborhood. I've never flooded. I've always went down there with pumps. One of my neighbors back there actually has one of my pumps on loan permanently until he sells the house. I want it back. But
All righty. Anything else?
Does it?
With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Supervisor, I'd just like to say one thing. I'm sorry.
gonna shoot someone.
I'd like to say that I think our planning board does a very good job. Okay, some people are upset, and it's understandable. Emotions come into play, but our planning board does a very thorough job. Our professionals do a very thorough job. By law, we have to look at beyond a reasonable doubt before they pass any negative declaration. And, we look at these projects. These projects are also offsetting taxes for our residents. A lot of us on this board have said that we like commercial development because it produces its ratables for our taxes and jobs and construction and everything else. So I think that our planning board does a good job looking into these things, and I'd like to thank all of them.
Anybody else have anything to say very quickly tonight?
Just two people. One, Community Day. I'd like to thank the fire police for stepping up and doing the job, and they also helped yesterday with a lot. And the one person that Kevin forgot to thank, the business in town, don't worry, I'm sure they won't forget, was St. Columba Church for giving their parking lot and having about 3,000 cops parked there this morning. And I'd like to make a motion to adjourn before Carol does.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. Next town board meeting is October 9th workshop. Regular meeting October 23rd and October 3rd budget meeting.